Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media. From Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Alright everybody, welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host Jose, and let's get right into the news this week. So again, a new week. It is Happy Tuesday. I'm recording this on a Monday, but Happy Tuesday. And let's see what happened in the past week. So basically, I'm getting a lot of this information from Twitter, by the way. Again, on other social media platforms, not much going on, but Twitter's a lot. Usually people reporting on stuff, so yeah. So first up, in the news section, or I guess anything like trending on Twitter, there is hashtag that's my unpopular opinion, which I kind of want to go, talk about my next future segments real quick. But that hashtag is trending right now. So the Grammys happened this past weekend. It's for me, it was last night, but happened this past weekend, and quite an eventful night. A lot of stuff did happen, and I'm really excited to talk about them. So first up, Beyonce is now. I believe she's the most Grammy awarded nominee artist ever. She has total of 28 total nominations. Total Grammys that she's won actually. So congrats to her on that. And she did break awards or records last night, and that's really exciting. Personally, I'm not like a huge fan of Beyonce, but I do support her music. I do I don't hate it. But I don't really listen to it that often. But really good news on Beyonce. And yeah, I'm excited for what she has to do in the future. She's already achieved a lot, but knowing Beyonce and Jay-Z and what their brains can do is really exciting for the future. Another great thing is that all women won the 4 major categories last night. I forgot all 4 of them, but I know one of them is obviously Song of the Year. I'm guessing album of the year. I know Taylor Swift has won one of the major ones too. SZA won Song of the Year. That's what I got to see. I didn't really watch the Grammys last night just because I had a lot of work to do, but I did see a big portion of it, and yeah, it was really exciting. It was a lot of fun, and I got to see SZA win the Song of the Year, and I think Taylor Swift won Album of the Year or something like that. But nonetheless, she still won, which is absolutely crazy, and it's really good to see that all the women are now winning all the major 4 categories. So yeah, it's really exciting. So next up is that Megan Thee Stallion, sorry. She absolutely dominated last night with a bunch of awards too, and she even was able to perform. And I understand, looking through Twitter, again, how I didn't really watch the Grammys last night, there was still a lot of buzz about her and how she was able to perform. I believe WAP with Cardi B, and about that performance, it was great. And a lot of people were just talking about her all over Twitter, saying, she dominated last night by winning so many awards, and she's sort of a new breakout artist, and she was somewhat able to break the mold when it comes to female rap artists. You've had Nicki Minaj, you've had Cardi B trying to do that, but I think Megan Thee Stallion was one of the really defining artists when it comes to female rappers. At least of this year, she's had so many good songs, and again, people just love her music, and I guess a lot of people like her as a person too. Again, I don't really know Megan Thee Stallion with watching her interviews or seeing what she's outside of her music, but from what I heard, she is she's fairly a great person, and yeah, she has a lot of support from her fans and just people in general. No one, people obviously don't like her music sometimes, but I don't really see a lot of hate coming for Megan Thee Stallion, which is really good to see. Also, there was many major performances last night, which I was able to see. Silk Sonic, again, what I talked about last week. Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, they performed "Leave the Door Open," and again, that was really exciting to watch. And again, as a big fan of Bruno Mars, and somewhat like I've been listening to Anderson .Paak a lot lately, but it was really cool to see him perform again, somewhat on a stage. Obviously, thankfully, it wasn't like over Zoom or something or like video call, but it was like them actually on a stage was really good, and we're getting progress. But yeah, Silk Sonic performed. Bad Bunny did. I did not see that performance, just because I'm not really much of a big fan of Big Bunny. Not because I don't don't I don't hate him, but I just never really listened to his music. But I heard a lot of people saying it was great, and the performance was something to really watch. And there's many other performances. I believe I'm not sure if BTS was nominated. They were nominated. Unfortunately, they didn't win, but I'm not sure if they performed or not. But yeah, nonetheless, there were many other great performances. Oh yeah, like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion with the WAP. It's a very very interesting song to perform at the Grammys, just because of the the whole meaning of that song is yeah, really it's not the Grammy type, but to each their own. At least they got a performance at the Grammys, which is great. Yeah, and that's really it. A lot of music videos and performances that happened last night are all over the YouTube trending page. So many people are rewatching it just because I guess they were really good. Like their performances had a lot of replay value, so good for the performers and how they're able to do that and make people kind of like want to watch again. And yeah, there's so many performances last night about several people, and it's all over YouTube. And there was definitely a lot more people that performed than I named, but I just can't really name them right now. But yeah, it was a pretty good night in terms of artists. But of course, there's still some people who still kind of disagree with the whole Grammys, and it's kind of unfair to some of the smaller, more individual type artists and creators. So again, it's Easter. There's always gonna be some sort of buzz after the Grammys or any major shows like that. And speaking of shows like that, last night the Oscar nominations did come out, and it was a great night in terms of diversity and individual actors. I believe a couple years ago or even last year there was a lot of backlash for the Oscars, only lacking in diversity when it comes to nominations, and not a lot of people were really involved. It was more the majority that was nominated for being a director, screenwriting, music, anything like that, or just acting in general. There was a lot of the majority, and people were kind of upset about that. So this year, it's great to see all the diversity amongst the nominations. So first up, really is Chadwick Boseman. He was nominated for a posthumous Oscar, and I believe that's his first Oscar nomination. And it's unfortunate that his first one is after his passing. And but yeah, it's great to see that they're still recognizing his art as an actor, because I loved him in 42. Even though I'm a big Marvel fan, I still loved him in 42. His performance of Jackie Robinson was great, and yeah, hopefully he gets it, just because I'm a big fan of Chadwick Boseman and all of his art that he put out. So yeah, Riz Ahmed, he's Pakistani, and he's one of the first sort of Pakistani nominations ever for the Oscars. Oh yeah, the Oscars, and yeah, that's just honestly great in terms of diversity. A lot of people were really happy with that. People were tweeting all over on Twitter, especially how it's finally getting representation. And yeah, I personally have not seen any of his art or performances, which I probably should be checking out after this. But I personally have not seen any of his performances. But from what I've read and from what people are saying all over Twitter, it's very good. And he really does deserve the nomination, so hopefully, cross fingers, he'll get it. I'm not sure, I'm not sure the other people who are nominated in that certain category, but all I know is Riz Ahmed was nominated for an Oscar, so hopefully it goes well for him. Next up is one of my favorites, Steven Yeun. He is the first Asian American to be nominated. He's the first one, and again, great news. I've only seen him in really a couple, sort of indie films, and I've seen him in mainly The Walking Dead. I used to be a big fan of the show when I was younger, and Steven Yeun was Glenn was my favorite character of the show, and seeing him being represented in the Oscars is great news. And yeah, there's a lot of firsts for this year, and really excited for the Oscars. I might actually watch this year just because of the nominations and the buzz that it's making. But yeah, again, really excited to see Steven Yeun just be there nominated, because I think that I'm not sure if that's his first nomination ever. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It would be, considering he's the first Asian American nominee. So again, yeah, that's great, and it kind of shows like it's been several years now with Oscars, like decades, and just him being the first ever right now in 2021 to be Asian American nominee. It's crazy to think. So big props for the Oscars on acknowledging what the fans or the audience was saying and gaining sort of that feedback from them. And yeah, looking forward to it. I'm not sure the exact date when the Oscars are happening, but nonetheless, I'm still gonna watch it. And yeah. And next up is Viola Davis. I had screenshotted because like I'm not sure, it wasn't like a long title, but she did break a lot of records. Or she did break a record this past weekend for the nomination. If I can just find like the tweet real quick, give me 1 second. I know I have it somewhere. I was literally looking at it, and I didn't have no space to take notes on it or whatever. One moment, please. Oh yeah, okay. So Viola Davis is officially the most award-nominated Black actress of all time, for her performance for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And again, I haven't really seen that. I'm a person who doesn't really watch like indie films or really anything other than Marvel. But I know who Viola Davis is. She's been in several movies, and again, with that representation is great to see amongst the whole community with the Grammys and the whole movie industry. It's good to see that Viola Davis. I know she's a great actress too. See that representation, and yeah, good job on her. And good job for everyone that was really nominated. They are breaking records. They're making a big change when it comes to this whole Grammy thing, and I'm really excited for what the future has to offer. And yeah. And that's really it for the major ones. I did take a quick note on like what I thought was funny on YouTube. It was trending. It says man cooks chicken by slapping it, and it's at 1.4 million views. It's only been out for a day, and yeah, it's really weird because I saw clips of the video or like clips of like the whole progress on TikTok, but I guess the full whole video all throughout has been made on YouTube, and it's really interesting because the clips basically, when you slap something, it sort of like gives off a sense, like a little bit of heat, and obviously because of like science and whatnot, I'm not gonna go in deep into it because I don't want to look like an idiot because I don't know anything about science, but science, if you slap something, it's kind of there's a warmth to it, and this guy thought like, what if I just slap a meat or a chicken hard enough or fast enough where it starts to cook, so it develops the heat and it cooks it. And at first I thought like this is gonna be stupid because he can't do it with his hand. But he ended up making a machine that would just automatically slap things really like at a really fast pace, and then it would actually heat up. Like, it would make marks on the chicken of it being heat up. And I'm like, wow, this is actually like I can't believe this is working. And I guess seeing like it on the trending page now, I guess it said man cooks chicken by slapping it. I guess they actually did it, and it's really interesting to see like all those silly ideas people think of and eventually make it like a product out of it. And I just love the internet and everything that goes on social media, just because like there's so many ideas that can circulate, and people just really like that, I guess. And of course, following from the previous episode that I've done so far, I kind of still want to do the influencer of the week, I guess, or influencer of the day type of segment. And this week, I kind of want to focus on Liza Koshy, so another YouTube star. You'll notice a lot of these influencers that I talk about are YouTube people, just because they're more prominent and prevalent among social media. Say if it's I've already talked about like the D'Amelios, like Charli D'Amelio and her sister. Their content is primarily just based off of from TikTok, which honestly, although they do post a lot, it's more on just how much information does it give. when it comes to YouTube influencers, a lot of them, put out their content and put out their personality on social media, and Liza Koshy is a very direct person when it comes to that. So I definitely want to talk about her in my next segment. But first, we're gonna take a quick break.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. So, Liza Koshy, she is a very, very interesting character, one of my favorite personalities on social media, and overall, I'm just a big fan of her. Although I do not really watch some of her content or some of her videos, I am a big fan of what she does and what she represents, and yeah, she's someone I do want to talk about. Yeah, and first off, do a little backstory. So, Liza Koshy, she is part Indian from her dad and also another part German from her mom. So I believe her mom is of German descent. And I forgot to look up her age, but right now she is 24 years old. So she's still a fairly young influencer. And, just with any sort of social media influencer, they're fairly young because this is work as a social media influencer is fairly new. So, of course, there's gonna be a young demographic into that. But yeah, so she is mixed, and she did start out on Vine. So as you can see, a lot of these people I've already talked about, like Logan Paul and David Dobrik, they both started out on Vine. I'm not sure if I mentioned that actually about David Dobrik. Nonetheless, he also started at Vine too. But yeah, so Liza Koshy had around, I believe, 7 million followers on Vine before it died off. But once it did, she moved on to YouTube, as a lot of other Viners used to, I guess ex-Viners used to do. So she moved on to YouTube and started making content primarily based on vlogs, challenges, skits, and her content is primarily based on her personality. That's what her channel is. So, like, usually you would have YouTubers have their content, be based on like gaming or reaction videos and stuff like that. But with Liza, it's more on she focuses more on personality and having these separate characters that's hers and skits and shows how funny she is and whatnot. So it's more just herself, nothing really to supplement that. That's why a lot of people resonate with that. So that's reasons why she's accumulated around 17.7 million subscribers. This is a lot, but yeah, 17.7 million subscribers. And accumulating over 2.4 billion views across all of her videos. So she's fairly popular. She's loved by many, and something I really want to talk about later. But yeah, her channel is based on her personality, and lately she's been kind of iffy when it comes to uploading. I believe now, within related to this exact moment, she has uploaded 2 weeks ago. That was the most recent video. And she's somewhat consistent. Obviously they can't be posting videos every single day. That means there's too consistent, but she's somewhat consistent for where her schedule is. So every other month, every other week she posts a video, so which is good. But she's still active on social media. But with that, she also has a lot of new projects because she's gained so much popularity that she's been offered by bigger companies and all these shows and stuff to hire her. So she's been in a lot of TV post positions. For example, she was on Escape the Night, which is basically, I believe, that is like a it's, I think, Well, let me look this up real quick because I don't want to butcher it. But Escape the Night is like an escape room show, I believe. It's a web series. So okay, not a big company, but it's more. Yeah, it's actually run by YouTube. So YouTube Original, which is like a series that YouTube has, basically focuses on the creator, and they have their own show to host or a show about them. And YouTube sort of just promotes that on their platform. It's like, how do I explain this? It's like Disney Plus with Disney Channel. You know, yeah, I guess that's like the best way I can explain it. But like, yeah, Disney Plus with Disney Channel, and it's basically YouTube originals with the YouTube platform. So she has a couple shows with the YouTube originals. So yeah, first up, Escape the Night, which is basically they put a bunch of people together, and she was and what is it? Yeah, and they do like an escape room or like a story of an escape room, and she was one of the contestants on there. But yeah, she was also part of Liza on Demand, which is like I guess it's like a comedy show. And she was the main character because it is called Liza on Demand, and she was also on Freakish. And another funny thing was Double Dare, which is really interesting because that show was a couple years ago on Nickelodeon. And she was a host for that, so basically it was like a Double Dare show that was the old show that was back that was popular back then, when Nickelodeon was first coming out with a lot of shows, like very retro 80s, I think 80s to 90s. Double Dare, that one, and they brought it back, and Liza Koshy was the host for that, which is really exciting. And I believe they hired her as a host when she was at her peak of popularity. So she was most popular at that time, and she was the host for that show. So she's been around a lot when it comes to the media presence and quote unquote Hollywood shows where they're more than just a YouTube channel. I guess she's actually seen as a TV personality. She's also on fun fact. She's also in Boo Medea Halloween, which I actually saw. And yeah, it was a funny movie, and she was on it. I forgot what she played because I remember just seeing it when I was in my living room, and just seeing oh my gosh, that's Liza Koshy. But she was in that movie too. I don't remember if she played a big role or not. I just remember being in it. But yeah, again, like what I was saying, she's been fairly involved when it comes to more of a TV personality type, and because of the personality that she perceives, she's very talkative in a good way. She's very unproblematic, which is a phrase or a word that I really want to use again later. But she's unproblematic. She's very nice. She's very friendly with a lot of people, and her personality just is very accepting towards everyone. And that's why her personality attracts a lot of big name people or shows, because she's so popular and so loved with everyone. They want that name on involved with their show. So that's really cool for Liza. Starting off as a Vine star, now turned into TV host. Isn't anyone's anyone's dream when it comes to that, because back then when she was doing Vine, she was doing mainly comedy, and a lot of them were just really random videos. There wasn't a I guess she did, but it wasn't that often where she would have a video of punchline or build up to the joke, punchline, and that's it. It was more just doing random goofy stuff, like putting your hair, making it shaped like a bird, and doing bird noises or whatever like that, or lip syncing to something funny. So, she was still able to gain a following for doing something so simple. I'm not saying it it's easy, because it's I'm not gonna say it's super hard, but yeah, she just became very popular with doing the content that she did, and yeah, I think it's really cool from the way she's built herself up from previously. And again, the reason why I mentioned unproblematic, because her track record on YouTube was very unproblematic. Well, she still isn't unproblematic, compared to say Logan Paul, like I did for the last episode. He was quite problematic. A lot of people didn't like him at one point, and people still sort of don't like him. He's slowly starting to gain that the following back, but for most of the part, he has a big group of haters. But when it comes to Liza Koshy, I don't really see a lot of haters. I just see a lot of people who are judging her stuff. But yeah, she doesn't. Which again, that judging thing I want to talk about later in a second. But yeah, she is quite I keep fumbling up that word. Unproblematic, and she's been friends with a lot of other YouTubers, does collaborations with them, and makes video, leaves, and does nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. which is very rare for especially like a YouTuber, because YouTubers and like influencers in that sort of realm, a lot of their content like gets involved with drama. And but with Liza, there's not really nothing much going on. The most drama. Okay, I want to preface this too. She dated David Dobrik, which is another influencer that I had talked about in a previous episode. But yeah, that was the most drama. It was when they broke up, and it was even like they didn't even hate each other. It was more just like sad that they had to break up because like David was no, Liza was like very busy because she again, this is around the time when she was doing many shows like Liza on Demand, doing Double Dare and Escape the Night. So she was on multiple things, traveling constantly, and they broke up because she was way too busy, and she felt like she wasn't like paying too much attention to David because she was so busy working. And to each their own. Everyone has their own opinions towards that. Obviously, like there's more to it that I didn't really say now. But that was really it, because like they're both living like busy lives. Even David was that was around the time when he was like peaking with his YouTube channel. So they both were like busy. And yeah, the whole breakup video that they made of them crying was really sad. When I was thrown back when I first saw that, because I was like, they're gonna last forever, but I guess not. But yeah, that was the most drama, quote unquote drama, that she had. And like, yeah, she was just unproblematic compared to other people. And when it comes to going back to what I said about like the judging stuff, people have judged her online because her content isn't funny, I guess. I mean, I find some of her content funny. Again, like I said before, though, I don't really watch her content. I just know her as a personality through David's vlogs too. I've seen some of her vines; they're pretty funny, but a lot of people saying she's unfunny, and some of her jokes are getting too old, or the way she acts is no longer working. It's no longer effective when it comes to the people who are on the internet now. People usually like to watch that like mean type of funny, or I don't know if like or just different types of like comedies. Some people even like dark humor, but the content that she makes, she's too. I guess you could say she's a little bit too wholesome for the audience that she's trying to reach out to. And yeah, and it's created some sort of like not drama, but there is sort of that the big question is, Liza not funny anymore? And personally, for me, she still is. Not for me though, but for some other people, she could be really funny. I think it's more just perception of what your audience is and who your audience is. If her comedy is more aimed towards like 10 to 15-year-olds, then her like the content that she was making, or I guess she still is making, is very viable for that. But if she's aiming to make people laugh within my age range, I don't think it's gonna work, because we like sort of see through the joke. And like a lot of people who are within my age range are seeing her content and saying it's unfunny, which is maybe that's an opinion too. Maybe you don't think she's funny, but also remember that her content is designed for a younger audience. And again, I'm not like here to defend Liza, but it's also sort of like that aspect where you got to remember it's not maybe it's not for you. And yeah, Liza Koshy is a very interesting character to just monitor or watch on YouTube, because she's quite successful. She's been on many shows. She has a successful YouTube channel, and people love her. Like, majority of people love her. And yeah, she's quite successful. You probably have heard of her or have seen her, because it's kind of hard to avoid her in some parts of the internet. But nonetheless, overall, a great influencer, and quite unproblematic in my opinion, and interesting track record. Like nothing, like Logan Paul's is interesting, but that's because something bad happened to him. I wouldn't say it's good interesting, but it still captures interest. Hers is more just positive, interesting. See her from the ground up, start off from Vine, and just all of a sudden make her way up. And yeah. So in my next segment, I kind of want to talk about the first thing I talked about in my first segment was about the unpopular opinions. And I kind of wish I did this earlier too, because it's just such a it's just a great idea just to talk about this, because there's so many unpopular opinions. And in this segment, I'm not going to be like, your opinion's bad, or yeah, I agree with that. Maybe I will say that, but like I'm not going to disregard anyone's opinions. It's just funny to see everyone's opinions that they put online and how people see it. So yeah, I will talk about that in my next segment. But first, we're going to take a quick, I guess you can say it again, quick break.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Alright, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. So I would definitely want to talk about unpopular opinions in this portion, because it's something that, a lot of people talk about on the internet, and honestly, it's a lot of these unpopular opinions that I've noticed are kind of popular or something I agree with, and I'm kind of annoyed because it's technically no longer on the trending page from when I first started recording to now. It's no longer part of the trending, so I have to look it up myself, and I'm getting different answers, but nonetheless, I'm still going to look at it. Let me see the first one that I saw, actually, because I kind of agreed on that one. This is sort of easy way. It says, by Evan, I've always loved the rain, but now that I don't play sports, I think I've concluded rainy days are better than sunny days. Hashtag unpopular opinion. So, with this segment, I'm going to put my opinion on it. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that rainy days are better than sunny days. I actually kind of agree with that when in sports too sometimes. So back in high school, I did track, and rainy days were just so much better in my opinion, because we would do laps around the track. So if you don't know, 4 laps around the track is 1 mile. So that's 250 meters, I believe. Yeah, 250. No, 400, oh my gosh, sorry. 400 meters is, yeah. So basically, we would do these things called Indian runs, which is basically we would run with a group of people in a line, and then so you have 5 people. The 5th person in the back would have to run all the way up to the front. Now they're the first one, and then the 4th person that's now 5th has to run up to the front to be the first one. Now the 3rd one, who was 4th, is now 5th. Is now who's last. Basically, everyone who's on the back of the train, whatever you call it, has to go all the way up to the front, and it keeps looping around for the whole time. And I remember specifically we were doing Indian runs, or I guess just laps around the track, and it was raining, and that made the run a lot better. It was so nice to see. We were all struggling because it was so annoying because the rain just kept hitting our face, but also it was kind of refreshing to do that, because it was just so. Because we're so tired with running and stuff, and now the rain's starting to hit, and then we're starting to become relaxed and cool us down a little bit, and we kept going, and it was very refreshing to do, just run in the rain. But still, I agree. Sometimes rainy days are better than sunny days, and there's a mood for rainy days. And yeah, I totally agree with that. Rainy days just feel way more calming than than sunny days. Obviously, I love the summer and I love the sun, but sometimes you need a good rainy day just to relax and chill at home. Hashtag by Bria, not Brea, Bria. Hashtag unpopular opinion. I love hashtag daylight savings time, and I also don't know. Daylight saving times is just one day you just have to deal with a change, and then the rest you just kind of just have to go with the motions, because it's the same. The schedule's still the same. Like, your work still starts at 8, or 9. No matter if it's daylight savings or not, you just lost an hour of sleep or gained an hour of sleep. So, and that, personally, I don't really sleep that much often, anyways. So, like, it's no big deal for me. But, yeah, I agree with that somewhat to some degree, because it's fair. It does get annoying that, like, especially now we lost an hour, because of daylight savings. So, like, that was annoying at first, but like now, like, I'm fine with it. My schedule's still like back to normal. My sleep schedule is fine. Like, I still, sleep at a good time and stuff like that. So it's no big deal. So I guess you could say I like it because I don't hate it. It's just annoying the first day or first couple of days, but other than that, it's fine. Hashtag unpopular opinion. This from, I keep forgetting, like, credit people, but this is from Tyler. Hashtag unpopular opinion. I like Skittles over M&Ms, and I totally understand why you would, but I don't agree. There's some people who like sweet stuff, but not chocolate. Yeah, that's it. Like, sometimes you just like sweet stuff over chocolate. And personally, I like M&Ms a lot better just because just M&Ms are better because I like chocolate, I guess. And sometimes I can eat a whole bag of M&Ms and sort of feel fine. Like, emphasis on the sorta, because obviously if you eat a whole bag of M&Ms, you're not supposed to feel fine. But with Skittles, I can't sit down and eat that. I literally have to eat a couple and then stop, because there's so much sweetness, so much flavor to it, which is good. But there's so much flavor to it that you just kind of want to stop eating for a little bit. With Skittles, look at M&Ms, you can just munch that whole thing down within an hour or at the movies. But yeah, this is a funny one by Alicia. Hashtag unpopular opinion. I hate wearing socks. I find them insanely uncomfortable. That's valid. Honestly, I think it's a little valid. Sometimes socks, especially when they're wet. Oh my goodness! I was in the kitchen today and I spilled water while I was washing dishes. And I was like, okay, let me clean this up. And I guess I missed a spot, and I had socks on. I walked on it. It felt so gross. But I had to leave within next 20 minutes, so I just didn't feel like taking my socks off, whatever. But nonetheless, I can see why socks can be uncomfortable, because they're just on your feet, and it's definitely nicer. Like, at the end of the day, you just want to relax at home. You just want to put your feet up, have a drink. If you're, obviously of age, of course. I am not. Fun fact, I am 20 years old. I'm almost 20, actually. But whatever, you can just, relax at the end of the day and just take your socks off. No one wants to, go home from work after a hard day, sit down, eat, have a good meal, and then put socks on. It's always, let me take my socks off. Relax. Let my feet breathe. I don't know, that's just me, probably, but yeah. I agree with, I somewhat agree with that. There's some days where I just, it's just nice to take socks off. This is so weird. Let me look for another one. Some of these I don't really understand. Talking about video. Ooh. Nicole, I'm going to make this short because I talk about WandaVision a lot, but Nicole, honestly, WandaVision could have just been the last 2 episodes. 6 out of 10. Hashtag I disagree with that. You need the whole show, because obviously there was a lot of filler. There were some fillers, and some of the spoilers were kind of annoying. But no, I don't like him. No, I mean, I really. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, whatever. You need the whole show just to do it. A lot of people talk about daylight savings. Wow. Everyone can argue. Okay. Oh, it's just literally just okay. How about this? Unpopular opinion by Aaron: yogurt plus cereal is better than milk and cereal. I don't understand what that means. Now reading that, what do you mean? No wonder you have no likes on this. No one gets it. That was mean. But that's weird. Yogurt plus cereal is, greater than milk plus cereal. So does that mean, because milk plus cereal is just, because cereal has milk. Does it mean cereal just like the cereal it's, I guess. When people say cereal, it's I think of milk and the actual cereal itself. Yogurt and cereal. Oh, is it when you have them a breakfast? Let me have a bowl of cereal with a cup of yogurt is better than having a glass of milk with a bowl of cereal? Because if that's the case, then that makes sense. Because why would you have milk and cereal? You already have milk in the cereal, so why would you need two things of milk? Why don't you just have yogurt, which is like still dairy, but yogurt and cereal, which is essentially a bowl of just milk once you're done the cereal. I agree with this. It makes sense now. Sorry, I kind of bashed on it the first second, but I agree with it now. Harry Potter, don't really know that one. I know Harry Potter, but like, okay, hashtag unpopular opinion. Almond milk is delicious, and I agree with that, but I won't have it. It's like I like it. But I wouldn't be like, this is amazing. I'm gonna replace it with everything. So, but like, say if I have a bowl of cereal, I will not put almond milk in that. I will put regular whole milk in that. But if I just drink milk by itself, sure, I'll have almond milk with it, like by itself. I think almond milk is mainly just for me, at least, just drinking on your own. You can't have it with anything else, unless like in cereal wise, like you can obviously have like a toast with it. But almond milk, yeah, I agree with that. Almond milk is delicious. Yeah, sure, whatever. More people talking about, daylight savings. Gutted and miss Piers Morgan in the mornings. Hashtag unpopular. I did talk about that last episode where Piers Morgan just, he left Good Morning Britain because of the whole Meghan Markle controversy. Yeah, it's crazy because I'm afraid he's been on that show for several years now. I think. I don't keep up with GMB. Yeah. Discord. Supergirl is the best CW DC show. Debatable. I'm still trying to find a lot of these because like unpopular opinion by Rory. I think The Mandalorian is a bit overrated. There, I said it. Fight me. It could be. Only reason why. Only reason I'm like it's popular is because of Baby Yoda or Grogu. To those people, I watched Mandalorian. And I thought it was good. Like show kept me curious every week. Not as much as WandaVision did, but show kept me curious. But I mean, I can get it where he said it's overrated because a lot of people, like as soon as that show came out, merch, people kept talking about it. Everything just came out about Mandalorian, so that's fair. Ooh, this is a good one by Allison. Hashtag unpopular opinion. I don't understand the obsession with her or her overrated performances. And under it is a GIF, or I guess it's a retweeted GIF from Billie Eilish. And here's interesting. I'm a big fan of Billie Eilish. Like, not a massive fan. Out of 10, I'd give myself like a 7 out of 10 fanness for Billie Eilish because her music is good. And they are quite sad and sappy sometimes, but they're good. Amazing voice. She's only like, she just turned 18. Started her career when she was 15. So, I mean, she definitely deserves all the hype she's getting because of the amount of work she put in at such a young age, and her voice is being absolutely amazing. But yeah, I can get where she said like people don't understand the obsession with her. Honestly, I kind of compare it to me with Beyonce. Like, I don't see the hype with Beyonce. I don't see why people, hype her up all the time. But that's just the fan base, hyping. Whoops, I don't know if you can hear that. My computer's, whatever. But yeah, like it's with Beyonce too. Like same logic goes. So the way she sees Billie Eilish is the way I see Beyonce. I don't see the hype sometimes. Maybe she's probably good. Like I know Beyonce is a really good artist. Will I like actively keep up with her? Probably not. And that's probably with Allison here on her tweet to Billie Eilish. She probably won't be keeping up with Billie Eilish. With her performance and music and stuff like that. Do I have time for another one? I kind of want to do... Yeah, here, let me do this last one. Hashtag by... Ooh, I just lost... Wait, did I lose it? Oh my gosh. Good. Okay. Crignette Brian. Windows is underestimated. Hashtag unpopular opinion. Yes. 100%. I have a lot of friends who have PCs, so what they mean by Windows, it means like, the Windows soft OS operating system. When compared to like Macs, Mac has the iOS, which is the Apple operating system. Windows, Microsoft stuff. He's saying it's underrated, underestimated. Yes, I totally agree. People tend to bash on it if it's not a Mac. People, when students from going to college, they dream, I don't know how to say this, but when example, a student is looking for a new computer for college, the first thing they're always looking at are Macs. People often tend to overlook the power of Windows, and I guess how strong they are, because honestly, they're really good at customizing and whatnot. I can go into a bunch of tech stuff, talk, but I don't want to do that because first off, I don't really know a lot about it anyways. But still, I don't want to mess this up. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's underrated. And yeah. So, continuing off on my little Twitter adventure here, for my next segment, I want to talk about some conspiracy theories, some funny ones. I don't want to get into anything too political or whatever, but I want to talk about some funny conspiracy theories or something interesting ones that, really capture my interest. So yeah, I will see you all in the next segment. But first, as I always say, we're going to take a quick break.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Alright, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. So, a little fun fact. Between these breaks, actually, I do, take actual breaks in between. And it's crazy to think, because, when you're listening to this, it sounds like it's just, one after the other. But then because your break is literally just, a couple minutes long because of the commercials. But for me, it's, 2 hours of a break, just because I just had a meeting for school right now. And then, I realized, oh, wow, I still need to, record my fourth segment, which is conspiracy theories. And I was like, wow, it's really interesting because, to me at least, because it's just how, to you people listening, it's a couple minutes I'm gone, but for me, it's 2 hours and, I've been gone. So, it's a little fun fact that I want to throw out there. But, yeah, so I ended off by saying I want to talk about conspiracy theories that I find online. I was trying to find some on Twitter, but I really couldn't find any. But conspiracy theories is a very prevalent thing among social media, just because it's an interesting thing to just read about on any platform, Twitter, Instagram, even Snapchat sometimes. But conspiracy theories are just fun to read about because it can be thought provoking. You can think well, maybe it is true. Yeah. I kind of talk about some the fun ones or some of the most common ones you can find all over social media or just the internet in general. Just because so many people just talk about it, and there's new conspiracy theories come out every single day. It can be the littlest thing from a show, maybe this show is connected with this show, or or the Earth is flat, which is what the first one I actually want to talk about. And yeah, the people believe that the Earth is flat, and I'm not saying I don't hate on anyone. I don't want to disagree hardly with anyone. Of course, not to the point where I'm going to argue with them about flat Earth. But personally, I believe that the Earth is round. There's enough viable information to prove that the Earth is round. But of course, teach their own. I'm gonna support this whole segment here by saying to each their own. Everyone can believe in what they ever want to believe. But to me, I just believe the Earth is round. I think one of the things is, like I'm not trying to brag or anything, but since I am from the Philippines, I have had to travel to the Philippines back home a couple times, and it's across the world, so I literally have not fallen off if the Earth was flat. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, you just don't fall off the Earth. But so I've talked to people who believe that the Earth is flat. I have had friends who know people who believe that the Earth is flat, and the conversation is very interesting just because of how different, like really different. Like we have all this information, and people still believe that the Earth is flat. And that also does lead to believe, like, maybe what if it isn't true, or whatever. What if the government really has been feeding us lies? But yeah, the Earth is round, and so is the moon. The moon is real. Moon landing was real. That's another thing a lot of people tend to believe in too. Is like, was the moon landing faked, or was it not real? And I mean, I personally believe it was real too. Like there wouldn't be a reason for them to fake it. Like, why would there be a reason to fake the moon landing? It's a really interesting feat, and like a bunch of other countries were trying to get there too. So yeah. And if like you think like U.S. would just fake going to the moon, we would be known better than that because other countries are watching us, especially Russia. But anyways, yeah, it's just a lot of weird conspiracy theories. I know there's a Pixar theory or like a Disney one where all of the movies have been connected. If I can just look that up real quick, just give me 2 seconds, please. Pixar theory. So it's essentially where all of the movies are aligned in a timeline. So it initially starts off with The Good Dinosaur, which is obviously like when the beginning of time was 65 million years ago. The Good Dinosaur, it's the premise of the movie was that like little cave boy becomes friends with the talking dinosaur, which is kind of funny because like obviously it's like the complete opposite. Then moving on to 10th century, which is Brave, and that's where like magic is introduced, and the witches and Brave, like I forgot her name, the one with the red hair, the one with the arrow too. Yeah. Then moving on is to the 1950s to the 60s, which is The Incredibles. And like moving on to like sort of like magic and stuff like that. There's also like superhero people. So it's like essentially like the Marvel Cinematic Universe to those hardcore fans who understand. Like in the Incredibles had like superpowers. This is a time of super people. And then moving to the 1955 to 1996 is when Toy Story came out. So B&L, which is a very common like a business amongst the whole entire like series. B&L is it's a big corporation. B&L has gotten into the toy business, and they like harvested human energy, which is that magic earlier, and this like in the mixing with the superhero stuff information that they have, and put that into toys, I guess. And it sort of just relates to that, and then to moving on to 2003 to 2004. Animals continue to develop starting intelligence parallel to humans, much like Dory in Finding Nemo. Yeah, and then 2007, a rat becomes so engulfed in human culture. So the animals, so engulfed in human culture and society, and he eventually surpasses all of them to become the best chef in France, perhaps the world. So that's basically Finding Nemo, those like things. So like animals start to begin talking. Then 2007, Toy Story 3 comes out. Oh my gosh, why I have in this picture here? Toy Story 3 came out. Oh my gosh. And like like of course animals start talking, and then toys start talking because of this one big business that messed around with, I guess, the magic from the Brave movie. Then Up came up. B&L logo appears in the construction equipment. So yeah, okay. Well, the only like Up shows up here just because it's because like it just shows a lot of B&L in the timeline, so it's present in that universe. In 2015, Inside Out comes out, and basically the movie talks about the human energy that the animals need to, oh my goodness, the human energy that the animals need to survive. So basically, okay, to basically like wrap all this up really. So BNL is a business in the Pixar universe that focuses on like capturing human energy and magic and using that like sort of essence or whatever and put it onto things like toys and animals, and that worked. So I guess the BNL used that magic to experiment on toys and animals, and that gave them life. So that explains Toy Story, and that explains finding Nemo and finding Dory. So they become more, talking animals start talking more, and eventually that leads on. I guess like from one animal to another, it passes down to a rat, which is Remy, the chef, and he becomes one of the best chefs in the world. And then the only reason why I mentioned Up is because it, like I said before, it like mentions BNL throughout the movie, so it just show that like it's present in the universe of that whole Pixar world, I guess. Then Inside Out, that movie talks about emotions and whatnot, and that's what it needs. It's so hard to explain because it's like reading it was so much better, but like the emotions, I guess, that they had, like that was in Inside Out, are essential for the magic, I guess, to work. Because like I guess they feed, like the animals and toys feed off of human emotion in order to survive, I guess. I don't. I'm pretty sure I just butchered that for the past like couple minutes. But that's a Pixar theory, I guess. In a sense, you could probably find a YouTube video regarding that. But yeah. From what I read, at least, I like it makes sense, but I don't believe it. It's just Pixar is made for kids. Those like movies are made for kids, and I don't think like they would think that deep into it for making a kids movie. I think it's just the people who are like obsessed with it just want to make some sort of continuity with it, I guess. And like I said before, conspiracy theories are it's thought provoking, and making a theory up about Pixar is very thought provoking. So it makes sense that people make theories about the whole Pixar series thing because, again, like I said, it's thought provoking, and like conspiracy theories are very hit or miss. A lot of them are just false. And that's what really, like, in relation to social media too, like a lot of people learn these new things, these conspiracy theories through social media. I mean, half the things I've learned about conspiracy theories are through social media and like what people believe in, especially that Pixar theory. I've seen so many pictures and jokes, like, or I guess quote unquote memes about that all over social media. Like people were saying, "Oh, this movie's connected with this." Like, what was it? Dynaco. Dynaco is a gas company in Toy Story, I think, but then it also shows itself as a brand in the movie Cars. So like that goes hand in hand together. So like people are saying like at one point the world became desolate and we used up all its resources, and it became the world of just trash, i.e. WALL-E. That movie where like WALL-E was a robot that collected trash. And then after that, like cars began to just mutate and adapt and become like alive for some reason. And that basically cars took over the world. So there's a lot of weird conspiracy theories that that I don't think are true. But they may be true. Like maybe the production people at Pixar are just absolutely smart and know so much, like go so deep into their work. And I mean, obviously, that's props for them for doing that. But like, still, yeah, there's like no other funny conspiracy theories I can think of right now, or any interesting ones, just because like it's been drowned out. Like people actually, like, I'm looking through the Twitter right now, and people are just posting like real conspiracy theories. But I don't want to talk about that because they sometimes can get a little bit too dark or a little bit too intense, and I don't really want to say that or anything about that, just in case. But overall, like, conspiracy theories is just fun to read if you're bored. Like, you can literally look some up on the internet. Like, I know the one about Area 51, how it's holding, like, live aliens. Because, like, why, like, I don't know, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. Like, Area 51 is known for alien activity and UFO sightings and whatnot, and like that's where the government hides all their stuff. So maybe or maybe not. I remember back in like early 2019, I think. Yeah, early 2019, there was that quote unquote raid that was gonna happen at Area 51, and there were so many memes that came out of that, and people were talking about like they even started like a petition or something like that. Not a GoFundMe. It was like some sort of petition. To like see how many people were gonna attend the raid of Area 51. It turns out it was just a bunch of people just like standing at the gates of Area 51, and they weren't really doing anything. They were just standing there. There was nothing going on. It was kind of funny because like it was a funny disappointment because you were expecting people to go like crazy, riot in and grab all like the alien stuff and like space weapons or whatever, but it was just people just standing outside by like the parking lot and just standing there just in front of the gates and just chilling. So yeah, overall it was just kind of funny, but yeah. I think that really concludes that whole like segment of conspiracy. I didn't really talk about many like conspiracy theories because I just got lost in that Pixar one. Hopefully what I said made sense. It probably didn't, but again, you guys can just look it up, I guess. But yeah, I think that's really it for this episode. My name is Jose. This has been the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And of course, leaving feedback and leaving positive ratings really does help me stay as a host and helps the show in general. So yeah, please make sure to do that. Make sure to follow us on our social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter and anything else like that. So again, thank you for listening, and I hope to see you all in the next episode. Peace.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.